is Lotus Lain, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm here on behalf of the Free Speech Coalition. I'm the industry relations advocate, and I'm moderating this wonderful panel with these beautiful guests that I have in front of me as speakers, co-speakers. So yes, I'm going to introduce one of my best friends, Anna Foxx, and she can explain herself, and then we'll go with Amberly after that.
Hi guys, I'm Anna Foxx. I have been an adult performer for 10 years. I am currently the APAC president, and I am a producer for Playboy. My pronouns are she, her, or that bitch. And I'm very thankful to be here and share my experiences. And I think that's enough of an introduction for me. I'll pass it on down to Amberly.
Sounds good. Let's hear from you, Amberly.
Hi, my name's Amberly Rothfield. I am the marketing director for Fantasy Club, which is powered by Adult Empire. And I also teach business and marketing to models within the industry, as well as a performer myself.
Yes, and Amberly, you are a wealth of knowledge. So I'm just like honored and glad that both of you could make time today to be here to speak on the very unfortunate topic of discrimination. You know, as much fun as we have in this industry and as much love as we have for it, there are times where we are still faced with dealing with discrimination, bias, things that typically other people don't have to deal with and are unaware of. So we're bringing some more things to light. You know, we all felt the outpouring of support around the George Floyd era of, you know, Breonna Taylor hearings and trials during 2020, the most extreme times of lockdown. And now that we've kind of been lifted from lockdown, we are now seeing the actual after effects of said support. And where are we today? So yeah, with that said, there's still a lot of work to do. Don't you agree? Feel free to unmute your mic. Yeah,
Okay,
you
sorry.
don't have to wait to be called on by the teacher. This is an open discussion amongst the three of us. But yes, so yeah, with that said, Amberly, did you want to talk about some of the things that you maybe noticed, patterns or behaviors that may still go unaddressed or held unaccountable?
No, absolutely. So like, as to echo what you said, we saw a lot of support around the time of the George Floyd case and Breonna Taylor and all of that stuff. But then it fizzles out. And I hate to say that is a pattern. I think we all agree. We see something egregious happen and we get hope for a hot second that things are going to change. And we see all of this support. And then over time, you see people no longer talking about that. We switch on to something else. And it's exceptionally disheartening to see that it takes massive tragedies within our community for us to feel like we matter, and to see people who aren't of our community then taking those tragedies and elevating themselves and then dropping the conversation later, if that makes any sense.
Wow, that makes so much sense. It sounds like a specific instance I remember us going through together, Anna. We were in a group chat amongst other powerhouse performers that wanted to be supportive. So the intention was in the right place. I'm not knocking that at all. But the impact that the conversations actually had on us as women of color, as Black women, was more detrimental than the intent behind wanting to, quote, help. And help in the sense of like the discrimination we face in the industry. Weren't we, you know, offered like funny PSAs as like what people were willing to do to help us?
100%. Just to add to that, I think I was extremely disappointed during 2020 because with these subjects that everybody wanted to care about, I'm very passionate about because I'm a Black, you know, so it definitely affects me, impacts me, and it weighs heavy on my heart. So seeing so many people come and want to be allies and want to help and want to change, and then kind of as soon as I open my mouth, paint me as the angry Black woman and be like, oh, that's too scary to touch. She's angry, she's mad. I need to like mute this conversation and move on to something easier, was definitely disappointing and kind of drove a wedge between myself and the industry. I felt like it was me against the industry, me against performers, me against fake allies, fake friends, fake things, you know. And it really did hurt because it doesn't, if you don't suffer from it, if it doesn't impact you, then like, you know, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And that's what I saw a lot of people doing with it. They're like, well, somebody's taking care of it, or, well, you know, it's
Black people are smiling again, so it's all good.
Yeah, back to business. Forget about all those things that I said, all those groups that I started to support, all of those meetings that I intended to have. Like nothing continued.
Right. Yeah, real follow through. We see that, we feel that. And when there's a lack of follow through, we also see and feel that as well. And to speak to how that affects us as far as our mental health goes, you know, one thing that I recall feeling is very alone, because I don't, like you said, we get kind of categorized or even maybe looked at or judged as angry Black women when we express ourselves too passionately. And in turn, it makes me clam up and not talk about the things that are bothering me and affecting my mental health in a negative way. And that, again, negatively affects my mental health, don't you think?
No,
So,
to echo
yeah.
what you said, that the Black people are smiling again. I don't talk about this frequently because I don't like, there's no one asked. So it's like, you can't be that, what does that mean where it's like no one, absolutely no one. Amberly, I smile and apologize a lot more because I'm scared of upsetting people, because there's that trope of angry, unhinged. It's not even just angry, it's angry, unhinged Black person.
Yeah.
And even though I'm biracial, like, I like to tell people, when someone doesn't like you or when someone becomes an enemy, biracial means nothing. Like,
Yeah.
you are just Black. They treat you as if you are the enemy of the state if they have that in their heart, or even if it's not, they don't realize it's in their heart. But yeah, I do that a lot. Like, I think both of you, especially you, Lotus, have been around me enough. I default to crying. Like, I'm never going to
And
yell
that's why
at
you're my favorite Care Bear. I love you so much.
I do.
You're so tender and sweet.
Even when I'm like really upset, I default to crying. And I actually, I haven't admitted this anywhere. I mean, to private people here and there. I have a trauma therapist specifically who, like, after a while, she like paused and she was like, I think a lot of this has to do with a lot of like racial stuff. You're scared of coming off and telling people how you feel because of the fact that you're the fact that you're Black. And it took a while. I was like, no, that's not why. I'm just tenderhearted. There's something else wrong with me. And no, I think a lot of us, we either default to being very angry and upset, or we are very people pleasing. And it's both are not really good mental health states to stay in, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I often float between both areas because I mean, I do genuinely want to do good by other people and help them, but I find myself holding in my true emotions sometimes because, like you said, it's unhinged, you know, if you come off too passionate, too wild, whereas other people can be seen as like quirky or just wild and fun. So yeah, there's a lot that like lies on our shoulders and on our heads as far as like how we're perceived. And obviously that goes into bookings or companies wanting to work with us and do brand partnerships or ambassadorships. So yeah, our persona is much more under scrutiny than other people, it seems. Wouldn't you say, Anna? I feel like one of the things we recently talked about was a lot of the scrutiny you still tend to face, even with as much as notoriety you've surmounted for yourself in the world of like stardom and mainstream and producing and all of that, that you still face on sets. Do you want to talk about it?
Girl, I still can't believe that as recent as yesterday that I'm dealing with issues I'm getting questions are like, is your wig gonna fall off? Why isn't your head shaved? If you take off your wig, can you have an afro? no, I'm sorry that like that this industry has created my character and I wasn't freely able to express my Blackness when I started. So my natural roots, I don't got no edges. So no, this wig is what you get. And like, lucky for me, I'm able to afford to change my look to work for people, but it's not easy. Like, I don't know any other girl that has to spend $700 each time a director wants them to change their hair, or has to like make sure a month in advance that they know that like my dreadlocks are not going to magically change into an afro, or checking my script to make sure I'm not being called the N-word or saying cracker to my white co-stars. Like, this is recent. This isn't years ago.
That's
This
so
is
unbelievable. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't believe it if it wasn't true, but sadly it is.
it's true. It's true. And like trying to express my uncomfort on set full of my white co-stars is like it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. I was like, why is it that I have to say cracker? And they're like, well, you don't have to say it. It's no big deal. That's just how your character talks. And I'm like, no, my character doesn't. Like, no, she doesn't, and then them not understanding that the director found it necessary to write those words to come out of my mouth. Nobody
Right.
else's dialogue is racially motivated. Why is mine? Like, why can't I make a funny joke about like completely disrespecting someone?
Yeah, that's really heavy implications too, especially because what directors don't have to deal with is the backlash from fans that watch that scene, or fans or whatever, people that get upset by watching that scene. One of the things that comes to mind is how they would titled DVD at that one point, Black Wives Matter, the wives. Yeah,
Black
and the
wives.
director or whoever titled it wasn't the one getting all the shit and the hateful messages. It was the Black women that appeared in the movie. Unfortunately, we tend to get a lot of the brunt of these kinds of situations. I beg the question to wonder if any white performers out there, or even not just white, but non-Black performers out there, have been under such extreme scrutiny for their hair style, or whether your hair was going to hold up under, sexual pressure and energy, to such a degree where you were doubted and had to take pictures and send in verification and proof and validation. I mean, I witnessed these things happen. I was actually there that day, unfortunately.
Was there.
Yeah, I mean,
Not fun.
yeah, we laugh, but it's just the fact of the matter is, if more people really understood some of the ridiculousness that we still face in the face of people that aren't necessarily bad people, that's what's I guess most perplexing about it. Some of these people have good intentions or have good hearts, and they still treat us in such a way. So we're bringing things to light about some of the discrimination.
I think something that
sometimes it's blatant, and sometimes it's subtle, but it still exists.
I think something that Amberly was saying is that she has a trauma there. You have a trauma therapist. And a lot of these microaggressions that we go through, this discrimination and things, like, we become numb to it. And it's like unfair that sometimes I almost need another person to be like, hey, what the fuck did they say? That's fucked up, for me to be like, you're right. That is fucked up. That is inappropriate. That is messed up. Like, I kind of like need an alert now to make sure that I'm aware of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's really sad, because that also makes me realize that's kind of how I was becoming numb to some of the things that may have come to light recently in the industry that Amberly was, divulging to me that they had experienced similar to what I experienced in terms of discrimination in the advocacy space. And it was really upsetting. My reaction was almost to not react, because I'm so used to everyone else not reacting when, something is said or brought to their attention, because I don't know, there's a tendency to not actually hold harmful people accountable in our industry if there seems to be some sort of value specter to them. And I mean, wherein lies the value? Like, who's paying for that value? Is it on the heads of, people of color, on Black women, on our mental health? That's really what it comes down to. And that's one of the things that I would implore many of our allies in the audience to take into account and consider. Our silence is because we've been silenced. you know, your silence is because you're uncomfortable. And that may be unfortunate and, you know, cringy for a moment, but we really rely on your voices to speak to people similar to yourself, or to speak to the people that brush us off and think of us as just complainers or whiners or whatever it is that they may not take us seriously for. But you know, that's why one of the reasons why we're having a conversation such as this, not just to let it all out, but to also let you know how you can help us in the case of actually moving things forward, rather than just saying it, or, you know, giving us a like on Twitter or something like that.
Yeah, it's and thank you for saying that. Like, it 100% sure, truthful, high stuttering words. I have them. Try not to cry myself. Yeah, the stuff that, you know, there's many things I refuse to talk about publicly, because there becomes an inherent fear of, like, how is this going to be perceived? Or, you know, there's a fear of, if I speak out, how many supporters am I going to lose, because people don't want, it's not even that they don't disagree, like, they agree, they'll privately tell me they agree, but they're like, yeah, I don't want that coming back off on me. And my trauma therapist explained it to me as, it's not drowning. People say, okay, yeah, like when you see somebody like struggling and it's because of discrimination, they're drowning. She goes, it's not drowning. You're laying on your back going down the river because you're too tired to be able to try and tread water. You're too tired to be able to get to the other side of the river. And so people just see you and they're like, okay, they look fairly okay. At some point, they're not going to be okay. At some point, they're, you know, they're going to sink beneath the water. And it's just, you're you're praying that you don't see that happen. It's out of sight, out of mind. And my therapist also said it's that kind of inaction that actually makes it to where this stuff perpetuates and it continues. And I'm not going to cry. Promised myself I wasn't going to cry on this panel, damn it.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'll cry
You
too.
know, virtual hug, Amberly. I'm there with you. Don't trip. You know, if real emotions come out, it's just, you know, the honesty of the subject matter. So don't feel bad about that. Yeah, I mean, you're right. The inaction leads to actually empowering the people that do harm, because they see they can get away with it. They see no one's going to do anything. And it almost becomes like that metaphor that Trump used, that he could shoot someone in the middle of town square and no one would do anything about it. And I've seen that in our industry with different characters and people and different behaviors. And it's really unfortunate how the industry will pick and choose certain people who to cancel. For instance, some boy that poured water on a dog's head who happened to be Black. Yet there are actual, like, trauma-inducing, you know, people that harm multiple people, not just Black women, not just people of color, but also like white performers have been harmed by some of these like harmful people's tactics, male and female harm doers. And some of them are still in place. Some of them are still hired, invited to award shows and ceremonies, panels, everything, the whole spill. And it does make one wonder, what does it take for very obvious harm that is done to be held accountable, even when people know about, like Amber says, it's whispered around in rumors, but what does it take? You know, how far does it have to go? What tragedy has to ensue? And it's really unfortunate.
I think
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I think one of the things that hurts the most is that when you do go through like racially motivated trauma in the industry, and people come in your DMs to support you, but won't go on the record to support you because the person who wronged you is valuable. And, you know, I feel like for all the good days I've had, like my bad days were pretty terrible, like Bananagate, for instance, or just like stupid shit, like questions about my weave. And like, I had a lot of people come to me and say, well, it wasn't that bad. You know, we could write an article on it. We could talk about it, but this person's going to get an award in a month or two. So we would rather you just like chill out and stop. It wasn't that bad. Other people go through things like my trauma is not valuable enough to take accountability for, you know? like, to answer your question, like, what is it going to take? Like, I really don't know, because we've had so many people try to like ensure us that we'll be all right, ensure us that they're going to change, and like that they're going to create change, and like, you know, back it up. But here we are with no one behind us, you know?
Yeah, no, and like when you say that, to answer the question, was it going to take? I had a therapist, and then I got a referral to a trauma therapist this year, and I, for the first time in my life, I'm actually on medication. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to say I needed help and I got it. I'm on anxiety medication for the first time in my life. I've never really, I mean, given the fact that I cry all the time, I guess you could say I had some anxiety, but I never needed medication. I was fine. I dealt with it. I was good. I was able to progress, but like I had some books coming out this year I didn't put out over all of this stuff. And when you say, what is it going to take? Like, I don't, this is really sad to say, and I'm saying this full chest. There was a moment, and I'm very safe now. I don't want anyone to be worried about me. I'm very safe now. But there was a moment where I considered doing something that would have been very permanent, if you catch my drift, trigger. And that's what led me to get my trauma therapist over racial discrimination, over feeling not heard, over feeling like I don't matter. It took that. And and now that I'm on the other side and I don't have those feelings and I'm working with a therapist, I really thought about it, and I was like, if I would have died, the person behind it would have probably been like, it's such a tragedy, we lost a beautiful light, blah blah blah, and they would have gotten accolades and kudos and
false support.
yeah, and meanwhile they were the person that legitimately drove me to the point where yeah, and to think that my death wouldn't have actually, it wouldn't have done anything. Sorry, I was trying to not say that word. But
it's okay. It's real.
Yeah.
We're adults here, you know. Honestly, thank you for being so open and honest, really, because this is this is amazing. Like, this feels like, I feel like your heart coming through the screen.
Yeah.
Sending
And
my
you're
gratitude.
those feelings. You're really not alone in those feelings, Amberly. It's easy to feel like, well, if I wasn't here, like, who would care? You know, because it seems like no one cares when I'm speaking up, you know. So there's a lot of times that you will feel alone, and like no one will listen, you know, but we're here. I'm here.
Yes. And I'm so glad you're here too. And you did go follow through and get that trauma specialist. That's really, really important. So thank you again, just for your bravery and honesty and sharing something like that with all of us. You know, I'm going to be honest too. You know, last week was really hard for me. Anna knows I was struggling. I was like down in the pits. I was not feeling great. And this is not something I ever talk about online, because I feel like I can't. I feel like people cannot see Lotus, industry relations advocate, someone that's trying to help people, be weak herself, you know. But I was going through a lot of moments of self-doubt. I told Anna too, like, what am I even doing things for sometimes? Because it feels like even with our best efforts, there's no one really like caring enough to follow through on the things that we're asking for and requesting or suggesting. So yeah, thank you for the honesty. You know, we all feel it. We all feel it. But we're here. We're here with each other. Yeah, we're here for each other.
It's compounded because we're in the entertainment industry, like as an umbrella, which means we constantly have to look like everything's okay, everything is fine, like it's all smoke and mirrors, but it's not. Everything's not always okay, everything's not always fine. And to also another prevalent issue is, we all, especially as people of color, we want to progress, we want to, like, we need Anna, you broke down so many walls for us. I'm not kissing your ass, like that's legit, like your pedigree, you've done stuff that nobody has ever done. You legit, like, you're a Wikipedia entry for doing being the first Black female to do stuff. It's amazing. But at the cost of that, another thing people don't realize, and I also would like for the people of color community, the POC community to know this too, is tokenism. And being the first Black person, or not being the first person to do something, means that someone somewhere absolutely used you as a token. And this year has been a year, like this was my year of like really grappling with the fact that I've been a token. I've been used before by multiple people, and it got me to where I am. And is that a good thing? Am I complicit in this? Am I a bad person? Am I a terrible person? Should I resent my success? It's the duality is really hard to deal with.
It's extreme. No. I 100% agree. It's pretty extreme. I had my own experiences with trying to open up in 2020 with other performers, and a lot of them attacked me because they're like, shut up, you don't know what it is to go through things. You're on this platform, you have this and that and that and this. And I'm like, a lot of those companies use the fuck out of me just to have like say that they're not racist for this time. Like, look, here's the blackest Black person we could find. She's here, she's smiling, you know. And then
it's
right
not
after,
funny, I'm sorry.
oh, but that, you know, it is what it is. And then after pictures, they just kicked me off the thing. And it's happened year after year, year after year after year after year. And it's not easy. It feels worse than rejection. It really does. It feels being abandoned multiple times. And it's like every door, every platform, every step I've taken has been a door into abandonment. And it sucks. So it does feel, I do kind of resent it sometimes because I don't want to be the only one. Like, I shouldn't have to be the token. There should be enough seats for everyone. You know, and coming up with like a lot of my friends, you know, like, it's like, I would like to see them here. Like, some people I know deserve to be here more than I do. And trying to express that to companies, I feel like that's when they shut the door in my face.
Yeah, and it is true. It is unfortunate because I feel like from our era of when we started, there are not any other, you know, Black women still doing as much as we are. And that's really hurtful and painful as a reality to see, especially because as time goes on, I see more and more Black women of lighter complexions not having nearly as many booking discriminations that we faced and went through. And while I'm happy that we helped pave the way to open that up, I literally noticed that the more silent the Black woman, the more bookable she is. Whether it's light, the lighter she is, then the more bookable she is, or the more silent she is, then the more bookable she is. And you've definitely broken a barrier with that, Anna, because you know you speak your mind, and you're a beautiful dark goddess. And I'm glad that you are who you are, and you don't back down from that. But I noticed that our industry either like flushes other women out, or uses them up in that tokenized kind of way that Amberly brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I will say there are definitely some companies and pockets. Like I love my job. Like, I've never actually, like, when I started it, I've never been around so many, like, it's amazing how many like people of color I get to work with on a daily basis. It's great. And not just performers, but like people, like actual employees. I was like shocked and surprised. But there are company, I don't want to make it seem like it's all doom and gloom.
No, yeah, me either. I feel like, are you psychic, Amberly? Because that was literally about to be my next question. I swear. There was a question in the chat from Kelly Marsh that says, but do we experience any non-Black persons pulling situations up, kind of advocating on our behalf before we have to, or is there still a lack of support or racial statements when you know, we feel racialized or you know, singled out in a situation? And that kind of goes to what you just said, Amberly. There are good companies and there are good allies. So yeah, let's take some time to talk about those experiences to kind of example how maybe others that are struggling with knowing how to be a good ally can be.
Yeah. So it's not my experience. I haven't had that at my with Adult Empire, but I did get permission from a coworker because she told me about an experience she had last night when I told her that I was gonna be on this panel. And there was someone who said something very gross and very inappropriate, and almost everybody was just like, it was like full stop silence. And she's a person of color, I should also clarify. He was not. And it was handled. He was pulled to the side. Several people explained to him what his words meant, and it wasn't this like, nobody made it awkward, which is great. So that was it was, and it was a moment of like just not understanding what that word meant. And I've been in that situation where I said something that I've heard growing up and I thought was perfectly okay, and someone had to educate me. So I've been in spaces where people are like, yeah, no, that's not the T. Yeah.
And when you get told that's not the T and pulled aside, don't be defensive. People aren't trying to attack everyone. People are not trying to attack each other. We want to all live in a more harmonious world. So when you're called out in your mind, think of it more as being called in. Someone wants you to do better if they're talking to you about this.
No, 100%. And like, I have been called out on Twitter. Like, Twitter has come for my butt multiple times. And I don't think anyone can ever say I've gotten nasty, or maybe like once or twice, but I really tried not to. If someone, I don't really, no one can say it's a habit of mine to like start calling names or blocking people or losing my mind. I usually, no matter how nasty you are to me, I try to go from a I'm probably wrong and let's work backwards perspective. And it usually, it calms that person down, no matter how angry they are. If I'm just like, wow, you're really upset right now. You don't seem to be okay with this interaction. Can you please explain to me how you're feeling?
Yeah.
And actually listen. Don't talk over. Let them finish what they're saying. Let them express themselves, and then express yourself and have a dialogue. Because rarely is it that person thinks you're this terrible person. And even if they do, the best thing that you can do is show them that you're not, by giving them a chance to listen, because they're already of the mind that you're probably not willing to listen, if that makes sense. That's how to be a good ally.
No, that's great advice. Definitely take the time to listen and not speak over people. That's something that I see happen too often. So yes, listen without trying to defend yourself. Anna, did you want to add anything to that? Sorry, I have something in my eye.
I would say I would like to see more allies like publicly support our issues. I do notice that there are some gangsters out there that are just like trekking through the tweets and just like like they got it.
Loud and proud.
They're loud and proud, but those people are like constantly in it, constellating, circulating for us. I need to see more people, more like elevated people, more people that do shit here to do it, because there's too many people in my DM saying I support you, Anna, but I need everybody to know that you support me, not just like pull me aside in a hallway and be like, oh, I saw your tweet, that was great, good for you, like I need like to see it. I need to see the support. It's real, because a lot of the times that DM support doesn't feel real. Right. And like I can see you speaking up on topics that are like just petty, then why can't you support me on something that really matters? True. So I just, I don't want to discredit anybody that that is here for us and that are doing the work. I just want, I feel like all these fake faces of support to really show support. I had so many people in 2020 to 2021 saying like, oh, I do all of these things. Well, where are they? What are they? I've never seen it. I've never seen you donate to or support. What are you talking about? So I guess I just need to be proven wrong,
Yeah.
That
No,
makes
totally, 100%. One of the things I was thinking, because a lot of people tend to get real squeamish about public things and public displays of support for whatever reason, and if that tends to make you have anxiety, instead of like publicly tweeting at a company or director, you can email them or set up a time to call them and have a conversation that's like one-on-one, or you, another ally, and this company, and explain to them what burdens they are putting people of color under, or whatever it is that needs to be addressed. So those are different kinds of allyship you can do, like actually reaching out behind the scenes, not to us in the DMs, but to the companies in their DMs or in their message box or their email. And especially if you're someone that works very closely with cam companies or production companies, and like the production manager, booking person, model coordinator person's email and phone number, those are the people you need to talk to. Like, reach out. If you have that contact information for a company, you're one of the person who should have this responsibility of speaking up. There's many models that are too new on the scene and they don't have those connections, but those of us with the connections, it is our responsibility to use those connections, because I, as a woman of color, as a Black woman, use my connections to help as many people as I can in the industry, whatever those connections may be, whether it's like production insurance information, or sharing like, this is where you could talk to a lawyer or whatever. But those are the things that I'm talking about. If you have connections and you're in the industry and you're an ally, or you call yourself an ally, or you want to be a better ally, you need to start using those connections to speak to people directly. And if you see something problematic happening at their company, you can be the one to call it out. You don't need a rallying cry. You don't need someone behind you with a megaphone. You don't need to see a tweet from Anna, Amberly, or myself to be like, we need so-and-so to talk to so-and-so. Like, I've seen even some tweets here in the chat, like you can reach out directly to those companies, or, petition to have a meeting, a town hall meeting yourself with these companies, call them in, call them out, those are things I have yet to see as well, but I think that they could exist if they were enacted. So many different things. There are a lot of good allies. There are a lot of good people. There's so many. I can't really name them without leaving someone out and making it seem like I'm being shady, but definitely a couple off top, Allie Awesome, the name speaks for itself. She's awesome. Siri Doll has been really avid supporter. I actually got a care package off my Amazon wish list from her, unexpected, out of the blue, unprompted, didn't say I was going through shit. She just sent it. And those are the kinds of things you can do as an ally. You can just see like, hey, that Black woman is doing it. She's doing her hustle. Let me just bless her with something off her wish list. It doesn't have to be like $100, $200 gift. It was small little trinkets. But every time I see those essential oils from Siri, I'm like, wow, that was like so fucking thoughtful. Those are things you can do, small things that just kind of let us know you actually do support us. Like donations to different BIPOC charities and things like that. Those are things we feel and see,
Yeah, and I wanted to also mention Ari Saunders, amazing webcam startup .com is their website. Started mutual aid.
I put in the chat because I didn't hear
completely what you said. Yeah, sorry, webcamstartup.com. There. Ari, I'm terrible at pronunciation because I'm Texan. But Ari, like, she's absolutely amazing, and like she started a mutual aid website where people can post what they need, and then you can go send them whatever they want. And there's quite a bit of people of color over on that on the sites that she's running. And I also want to empower people who are newer too. I kind of like I talk to a lot of people who are entering the industry looking at like how to get started. And I tell them all, this industry is stupid small. There's not many of us. It seems like there's a ton. It is terrifying to reach out to a Anna Foxx because you think she's never going to talk to you. Don't worry. I also almost throw up when I met her. But I did. I legit did. Thank you, Allie.
You almost had a spit take on the computer screen.
You're welcome for the content. But I did, like, I was just like, you can ask Sophia Rose. Like, when I met her, I actually was at an Exotica and I almost passed out. True story. If many people saw it, it was very embarrassing. It's intimidating to think I can't reach out to Spiegler because like top end agent. I can't reach out to the heads of Pornhub. No, there's fewer people working at these companies than you think. And it's not hard to get a hold. It's not like trying to get to a hold of the owner of Kellogg's. Like, you can get a hold of these presidents. You can tell them what you're thinking. I suggest being more respectful than not. You'll probably get further.
Yeah,
But don't think I started today, no one's going to listen. Don't think I can't reach out to this person. Try it. Like, get the audacity. I'm the most scared person in the world to do anything, and I did it, and people answered. And yeah, you can do it. Don't reach out. You're not alone. Reach out. And there's not as many of us as you think.
100%. You're so right, Amberly. Damn, that just I kind of lost my thought, but one thing I was going to say is you can DM me if you need help or whatever. I'm available. I might not respond right away because I don't always see, but I'm here. One thing I do want to say is that, yeah, think of leading with, when you talk to different people, lead with respect. Because one thing that I noticed with the call out culture, and that's why I kept saying the term call in, calling out tends to feel like an attack. You're calling them out. You're trying to embarrass them publicly. I get it. I get the approach. I get the tantalizing effect of all of that. I get it. But you actually have a better chance of having the outcome that you want. Income is also great. Don't get me wrong. But outcome that you want, if you lead with respect and call people in these conversations, like in a way that you're calling them in to help them learn and grow, and not calling them out to punish them and cancel them and delete them. Right. Like, we only do that to rapists and murderers and people that have literally crossed that fucking line. But you get it.
Yeah. 100 times. I'll take a meeting with someone 3 to 4 times before I will ever or I'll attempt to try to reach out to them privately 3 to 4 times before I would ever think to post something publicly. Because give the person a chance to do better, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Sorry, Anna, you were gonna talk.
Oh no, I just probably had my mouth open for no reason.
Getting ready for scenes. It's all good. She's always on the ready. Gotta love it. Don't
stay ready.
No, but honestly, I'm just so uplifted, empowered, recharged from this conversation. And I would like and hope that the fellow people listening in the audience do feel so as well. I don't want you to feel reprimanded or like you're not doing enough or any kind of negative shame feelings like that. I really want us to leave with a sense of okay, I know what I can do, and that's something I can do. And out of all these options, this is what I'm going to choose to follow through with, and lead with that kind of a feeling of, planting these seeds, more everywhere we go. We're going to have conventions coming up, in-person things. Yeah, these are more opportunities to have in-person conversations, even mask to mask.
Protection.
So is there any questions or comments from anyone in the audience? Let me see.
Let yourself be heard.
Let it speak up on it.
And thank you to anybody.
I do want to thank everyone for tuning in and being here.
Me too.
We feel maybe what we are saying is important to some people. So thank you for that.
For listening.
And I just want to say thank you, Amberly, for just opening up your heart in the middle of the conversation, because that really helped me open up a lot more in a way that I honestly, truly never do. Ever.
Love you.
So yeah, thank you for that. When it's just goes to show, when we show our best selves, our true selves, it gives the approval for someone else to do that. So if you in the audience are going to be a good ally and call someone in that maybe doesn't know that they're doing some harmful shit, you are setting the example for the person next to you that sees you to be damn, I can do that too. It's that easy, and we're opening up about our mental health state. So for God's sakes, it doesn't get any more vulnerable than that, you know?
I'm a little bit crazy and it's okay.
Perfect.
Ladies, I'm just coming in quickly because I really have to say, like, each and every one of you are inspirational on the next level. Like, the shit that you've been through is phenomenal, and you come on here, open up your hearts, and I'm just so thankful. And I think everybody that's watching now, just having a real opinion and a real voice coming through means so much. The conversations need to be had, more stuff needs to be spoken about, honestly. You know, communication is the key. If people don't know they're doing stuff wrong, or people don't know they're not reaching out properly, then the only way we're ever going to learn is by actually having shows and events like this that people can open up. And you all look gorgeous, by the way. Can I just say that? Honestly,
I know. I just love Amberly's hair. It's so full.
I know. I've been wearing Amberly's hair this whole time. I want to.
I know. I just like see how like big and full it is going down the shoulders, and I'm like, one day.
Bless you. You've all been honestly fantastic, and I thank you so much for your time. And if anyone has got any quick comments they want to put in the chat, ladies, if you're happy to put any contact details or social media platforms that people can relate to, if they want to speak to you again after the event, you know, you don't have to if you don't want to. But obviously, Pineapple Support also, just for the audience, does run a weekly BIPOC drop-in group on a Wednesday evening. I'm terrible with time zones, so I do apologise about this, guys. But if you go on to www.pineapplesupport.org, you can register. And like I say, anyone in the adult industry, click on, you can go down, have a look. We have a Monday general drop-in group, Wednesday BIPOC, and we also have a male-only group as well out there. So we're trying our best. We hope we can support people more.
Great.
And ladies, thank you again. I'm going to let you guys go.